President. I'm wondering if Leader Murphy would yield for a question.
Senator Murphy, will you yield? She will yield. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. As most members are aware, there's been some newspaper coverage lately, starting on Friday, of some conflicts of interest for Senator Champion in his role here at the Senate based on his professional life and then also on his legislative work here as well, too. So I just want to ask Senator Murphy, Senator Champion has requested an advisory opinion on the Ethics Committee and has stepped down as chair of the subcommittee on ethical conduct. Have you considered his roles as Jobs Chair and as Senate President and what that could mean to that? Mr. President, I wonder if Senator Murphy could answer that.
Senator Murphy, to the question.
Thank you, Mr. President and Leader Johnson. Senator Johnson, you make reference to newspaper stories over the weekend. I would add alleged to the statement of stories about a conflict of interest. These are alleged conflicts of interest. This morning, Senator Champion sent to all of us on the Rules Committee, and unexpectedly, a letter requesting an advisory opinion under our Rules 55.2. Any member can ask the Subcommittee on Ethics to request an advisory opinion. It can be public or private. Many members have done this before. There are a number of occasions in the last decade where members have sought the opinion of the Ethics Committee around whether or not there is a conflict of interest. So I want to begin by saying that Senator Champion, recognizing there were news stories around alleged conflict of interest, took the action this morning to request of the Subcommittee on Ethics an advisory opinion and that it be public. In order for that to proceed, the Rules Committee acted together, and I consulted with Leader Johnson before we took this action to replace Senator Champion temporarily with Senator Pappas to lead the Subcommittee on Ethics so that work can proceed. I think all of us hold dear the integrity that we hold with the public, and this body holds dear the integrity with which they view us. And in fact, that integrity, people's faith in our ability to do this work, is a foundation of democratic governing. And so I think it was wise on Senator Champion's point, from his perspective, to bring this request and to move this with due haste so that the issue that is being raised can be remedied. I think that it's an important part of our work together, and I'm glad you're raising the question. I believe that the Subcommittee on Ethics will be convened soon, and they will deal and offer an advisory opinion. And that, I think, should be the first and only step that this body takes with regard to the participation in the leadership of Senator Champion in the roles in which he's playing.
Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I appreciate that and the history behind it. Over one nuance that's different with this advisory opinion that has been in historical advisory opinions. Typically, one would get an advisory opinion prior to action. However, the action has already taken place, and so that really distinguishes this case from any others that have been in the past. And so when we're talking about trying to do an advisory opinion after the fact, I think we've got to take a step back and look at the wisdom of that judgment. And at that point, I think maybe when we're considering the decisions that had been made, it's time where we could take time out from those leadership positions, whether it's chair or president, as this is being determined. Now, had this been, we had the foresight to ask for this advisory opinion prior to requesting the funding for these organizations and then thus funding these organizations and the conflicts that happen in there, I think that would be foresight and the wisdom to ask for it then. But now afterwards, I think there gets to be more and more questions that pop up. So I would beg to differ on you, with you on this one, and would think that there needs to be something further that needs to happen as we work through that ethics subcommittee, the advisory opinion. But with that, Mr. President, thank you.
Senator Wiesenberg.